people tell you you're so efficient if you multitask. I have to work long hours to be productive, for example. That's a really big misconception that I've realized that people have. If you're always afraid of it, you will steer right to it. When you're sick, you cannot do anything. My body is telling me that please don't continue like this for the rest of your life. The more you listen to your body in the moment and don't let those stressors build up, the more your body will thank you. If everyone would do this, the world would be such a happier place. Everyone would be so much more at ease. It would benefit the whole planet, basically.
How much more productive would you be if you unlock the hidden cheat code that is buried deep down inside you? Because guess what? You've got it. You were born with it. You have access to it. It is simply a skill that you first get to uncover, learn how to harness, and then leverage for your peak productivity. And in this week's episode, you're going to hear from my guest Corinne Ramstein about reframing productivity and efficiency through cycle syncing, so that you can finally get your work done twice as fast, or maybe even faster than your colleagues, while feeling greater than ever before. Let's begin. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I'm obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. All right, look, if you're anything like me, an ambitious high performer, and you like to be the best of the best, maybe you may have leaned on linear productivity for quite some time. You know the hacks I'm talking about: multitasking, putting in more hours, pushing harder, trying to force yourself to come up with that creative solution at 8 p.m., even though your body's screaming, I need rest. And yet, perhaps deep down inside, you know that it's probably screaming for the right reason. Maybe you even can hear that this is not sustainable. If any of that resonates with you, you're going to love what I've got in store for you this week. So Corinne, that you're about to meet in just a moment, is a fellow friend and business bestie who's on a very similar journey to me, to be honest. Like, we share a lot in common, from our corporate background to being in entrepreneurship and the digital space, to coaching, to our passion about health and wellness and all things cycles. And yet she brings a really different and unique lens and perspective with her story and her journey. You're speaking about energy work and all the things that she's encountered. So I really think that you're going to love hearing this different side of effectively a lot of what I've been teaching inside of Efficiency Made Easy as well. And so when you stick around, by the end of this episode, you will know exactly how to leverage the 4 phases of your cycle, which, by the way, as you would have heard me preach time and time again, these are universal. So they're not just for females that are cycling, okay? Whether you're female, male, non-binary, whether you cycle or not, whether you're on hormonal contraception, this applies to you. You will know exactly how to leverage these 4 phases of the cycle to get access to your deepest, bestest superpowers that accelerate your productivity beyond your wildest imagination. Now, obviously, a little disclaimer today, Corinne is going to speak about it from a predominantly female physiology cyclical perspective, but just know that all of these concepts still apply to you in the cycles of success and a lot of what I've been teaching. So without further ado, let's dive in. This is such a good one. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Resonance, Corinne. I'm so grateful that you are here. We made it. You said yes. And oh my gosh, I've got a feeling today's going to be real juicy. So welcome to this space. And I would love for you just to introduce yourself, share a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what brought you here today.
Thank you so much, Viktoria, for inviting me. It's so cool to be here. I'm Corinne. I'm from Switzerland. I'm on my own journey of mastering, living in tune with my body, having sustainable energy, doing energy work, a little bit of nervous system work, a lot of mindset is in there. Because I'm a really logical person, or I used to be, so it's a lot of brain rewiring going on to go into your body, to follow that. yeah, and I'm learning currently myself. Eventually I want to teach others.
Amazing. And I love that you said I'm a logical person. I'm also a logical person. And most of my listeners are also very logical people, as us type A high achievers tend to be. So you're in the right place. Welcome home.
Thank you.
And I think most of us left brain dominated humans could definitely do with a bit of a rebalancing and tuning into our body. So
Exactly.
tell me a little bit more about your story. Like, how did you come into this journey of self-awareness and learning about yourself? It sounds like there's something there that kickstarted this whole process for you.
Yeah. So I was always really interested in personal development. Bringing the best out of my performance. Not to be the best of the best, but just I have this innate thing that I want to bring my best performance out, like for myself, like to see what am I capable of, basically. And I started this journey really in the masculine doing part of productivity and all the hacks that you can do. And it worked for a while. During my studies it worked really well, and during my first years of my corporate job. But then I realized, okay, like if I go on this way, it will lead me straight into burnout. So I realized my body is telling me that please don't continue like this for the rest of your life, basically. So then, like I felt a little bit like my body was like kind of not betraying me, but holding me back or slowing me down.
Okay. Yeah.
Which then I realized, okay, it's not slowing me down. It's telling me signs of how can I do this more sustainably, or it's giving me signs of, hey, this is not working like this. You're draining yourself, and do it another way. Find another way to, reframe productivity, but in a sense that it's in tune with your body and you can do it in balance. And that's where I started to do
language.
That's where I started to try out different types of energy work and to learn more about mindset work as well. And there I slowly shifted from the masculine more into the feminine of cycle thinking I discovered, and how you can listen to your body like in a more sustainable way for your energy long term.
Amazing. It is so cool to hear your story and your journey, because I see, hear, and feel a lot of myself in you as well. Our journeys are very parallel, which is why I was so excited to bring you onto the podcast, because at some point I'm tired of listening to my own voice, and I'm sure that listeners also appreciate a fresh perspective. And so there were a lot of things that you just shared there, about kind of this male dominated productivity system where you just wanted to be the best of the best. And like, girl, me too. I literally, on my career map in my corporate job, my headline was, I want to be better than my own personal best. Just like, oh my God. Don't get me wrong, like it probably still applies, but like it's just cute. And you mentioned that there were some hacks that worked for you, and eventually your body started to give you signs of either slowing you down or telling you, hey, you're headed towards burnout. And so would you be able to share a little bit more around what were some of those hacks that you were using, and then what did those first signs begin to look like?
I mean, a big one was multitasking. I mean, it's crazy, like how you train yourself to, okay, I'm doing work on my home, like I'm cleaning, and then I'm also thinking about this, and I'm like, you're doing 10 different things at a time, and for a time it works. So during studies, maybe it's needed that you sit in a lecture and thinking about, your other project already, that you can get it done efficiently. But as you're doing this all the time, and especially in the workplace, I realized you're not paid to do this. Like, you're paid your salary, and if you do this or not, no one cares. Like, why do I do this to myself?
Eat it, sister.
So then I realized, like, it's just draining my energy long term, and it's not useful. You're always like somewhere else mentally, and it's really more efficient if you slow down and focus on one task at a time. And it's still really hard for me. It's still, I like in the train, I like to listen to podcasts. I like to do multiple things, or when I'm listening to something, I'm thinking about my project, but you need to find a balance there, I think. In some way it can be healthy and it can be sustainable, but if you're always doing something and in the back of your mind you have 10 tabs open thinking about different things, that's just, you're not present in the end. You're not doing a service to yourself and to the people you're around. And also in the job, it's really like there is never an end. There is always more to do, and in the end sometimes it's more efficient to also decide what to focus on and what to leave for the moment. Maybe it's then like 2 months from now it's not as important anymore, or someone else took it up or whatever, like in a big company. So it's not even, it's just hindering for yourself if you do too much, or if you think you have to do everything right now at the same time. So that was a big thing for me to not like be efficient. And people tell you you're so efficient if you multitask, but for me, I learned that it's really not efficient. Like when your brain switches every time, it needs a little bit of time to adjust to the new task. So as I really focused also on work to like block myself for 2 or 3 hours on one task, to decline meetings when they were not really urgent, and that really helped me to gain back energy and to not being in this hamster wheel feeling all the time.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm writing notes down frivolously because a lot of what you're saying is just like bam, 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 hitting the nails on the head. You said this piece, and I've got quite a few listeners here who are, in the corporate world. I myself am still part-time in corporate. And so, you are paid a salary, and you are contracted to do specific hours in a job description. And like you say, no one cares if you then stay up all night worrying about that project or thinking, etc. And I actually created a tool that's super cool. I'll link it up to this episode. It's called the True Cost of Overwork Calculator, where you can put in like your contracted salary, the hours that you're contracted to work, and then the hours that you're actually working, including whether you took a lunch break and the time you spent spinning your wheels mentally. And honestly, like I had my partner do this because he is one of those people that, is constantly thinking about work. And when he did it, he was shocked because he was basically getting actually paid half as much as he thought because of all the free time that he was giving away to his corporate work for, outside of work hours. And so I highly recommend, whether it's, yourself or anyone listening to this episode, to use this tool, because that's what I love about math. It just maths. And when you see like, oh, that's how much I'm diluting my salary, it just kind of hits different. You start to value your time a little bit more. So thank you for sharing that, because that just kind of sparked this little idea for me.
This tool is amazing. I mean, it might be terrifying for listeners to try this, because then you have the hard facts like black and white, which might not be nice to see, but then you can reflect for yourself, and then you can choose to do things differently in future.
Exactly. And information is power, knowledge is power, because from there you get that conscious choice. And, you said a few other things which were shifting from this mindset of always trying to do everything at the same time, this multitasking, which is totally ineffective. It is glorified, but it is such a waste of our time and energy. And you recognize that actually there's always going to be more to do. And so before you had these realizations that really made you change, you said that you were starting to have some specific symptoms and signs that your body was telling you, hey, like, Corinne, this isn't working. What did that look like?
I mean, one was that I always needed breaks. And in my corporate job, I realized that I don't have the semester breaks that I used to have. They worked well. I could give everything during semester, and then semester break, like 2 months, I could be on my own pace, which was amazing for me. This is how I work. In human design, I'm a projector. So this is how we work. In this type. It's crazy, because there I thought I can do everything and I can give everything, but this natural build-in break helped me to regulate. But in a corporate, there is always more. Like, do you have a few weeks of in Switzerland, you have 5 weeks of vacation, which then doesn't give you those to like 1 to 2 months breaks a year,
Mm-hmm.
which then I realized, okay, shit, like I cannot recharge in 1 or 2 week of vacation as much as I would like to. And I was draining myself, I felt like, and I was starting to get scared of burnout. And if you always have this in the back of your mind, and if you have a scare or a fear of something that is always creeping up, your subconscious is probably telling you that this is like on your journey when you continue like this. And as you focus more on it, of course, it will get more, you will manifest it more into reality. If you're always afraid of it, you will steer right to it. So
100%.
Luckily I didn't have to go the full path because I saw it in advance. But yeah, it's scary to think, to go from, okay, I think I can do it all, to oh shit, like if I don't change anything, and you still want to be, you don't want a boring job, you still want to have something interesting to do and to share something with the world. And then if you realize you cannot do it all, or you maybe have to cut down on your hobbies and on your social life, whatever, which I didn't want to do either, then you have to see how, like creatively, how is there another way to approach this, to not go this down this route any further.
Yeah. And honestly, Corinne, like I have such deep, profound respect and applaud you so much for having the level of self-awareness of like seeing, feeling, and noticing that burnout is on the horizon and actually taking action before shit hit the fan. Because you could, unfortunately, what I see too often is like most people, you get the whisper and then you get the nudge and then you get the pebble, but it takes the bloody boulder for someone to actually change. And like you responded to the whispers and the nudges, which like, well done, because most people don't do that. So that is awesome. And, you stood firm in your values as well, where, you said this thing of like, well, you can't do it all unless you cut down from all these things. And that's usually the default for a lot of people as well. Like, family, hobbies, social life is the first thing to go. That was my personal case. And it's something I still have to be, like really, really careful with. But yeah, that's really inspiring. And so like, what did that change and that transformation look like for you then? Like, what did that path of self-discovery guide you to figure out?
I mean, to be honest, it needed another big, it was a little bit of a bigger rock to hit me to really then change things. Yeah. Because I all of a sudden got really heavy period cramps.
Okay.
I had no problem before, and then all of a sudden I had really heavy like period pain, which was also draining me again. And it left me like feeling like I cannot live my life, like I have to adjust to where I am at in my monthly cycle. So not go for a hike when I'm on my period, stuff like this, or not doing like heavy sports, which I thought that's so inconvenient. Like you have so much going on in your life already, and then you have to when you schedule meetings with friends, you also have to look on your period. Like that's crazy. I don't want to do it like this, and I for sure don't want to take medication. That's not the answer, that the doctors usually give you, to just say, oh yeah, it's not too bad, other people have it worse, and just take a pill if it doesn't work for you. Like maybe I can write you a sick note for 1 or 2 days, but that's not I thought, okay, no, that's not what I will do. There must be a better way. And that's when I discovered cycle syncing, which was amazing, because that goes into living in tune with your own body's rhythm, and having actually like the hormonal ups and downs guide your day to day, and live with your hormones instead of against your body, and use those ups and downs of the different hormones to have different superpowers kind of that you unlock. So this was like, okay, let's figure this out, let's work with this, and let's use this, which then included slowing down, in the luteal phase during my period, which was really, really hard for me, and to reframe to reframe rest as productive, and this was really huge for me, because before I looked at rest like as something needed to do, like as a pause, and it should be as short as possible because then I can go and run again. And to reframe this to say, okay, it's even more productive to rest now than to do anything. There was a huge, like, in the beginning was just like, I thought I cannot do, like I cannot understand the concept, but the more I tried it and the more I lived it, the more I realized that, you know, stressors are going down, body tensions, back pain, or back tensions, and which gave me a headache a lot first, like, or with stress. This went down all of a sudden really quickly, and my period cramps released. So it's like my whole, like, spine released, and the tension released, which was so amazing.
That's amazing to like hear the impact that had for you as well, because, you know, I am a firm believer that our body is constantly communicating with us. Whatever symptoms we're experiencing, whatever it is, it's trying to speak to us the best way it knows how. And the fact that you discovered cycle syncing, which I find that, you know, is finally emerging. I can't believe it took us that long. It is such a core foundation of the work that I teach as well. I refer to it as the cycles of success, mostly because I've also brought in some other things like the energetics of the moon and the seasons, etc., where this concept literally applies to any human being, whether you are female, male, non-binary, whether you have a cycle or you're on the pill or whatever. Like, the idea applies because we're human beings, and like everything in nature has a cycle, so do humans. Now, of course, the complexity is a little bit bigger for females that are cycling, because you do literally have the whole hormonal fluctuations, which is kind of the path that you went down. And so, you know, I would love to hear what it looked like for you when you started to experiment with it and let that, like, what superpowers did you uncover? I am so curious.
So I started with, the easiest for me was food, like to there are food charts you can download, or you can access on the internet, and then just try out different foods for different times in the month. And for me, what really helped was magnesium, to get rid of those cramps. And then I just started to experiment, you know, with the food and with the movement, because at the time of the heavy period cramps, I almost didn't dare to do sports at all. Except for maybe yoga, like slow yoga. But then I thought, okay, no, I like to be active. I cannot just do, like, go cycling 1 week in a month and the rest I keep myself from doing it, because I'm afraid that it will result in a heavy period cramp a few weeks from now. So then I looked at the sports you should do in each phase, which gave me confidence again to be active. And then the foods I tried, and I realized that I didn't need so much. Like, I didn't, because you could go crazy with this and organize your whole life around your cycle, which is also not practical, I think. So it only took me a few, like taking magnesium, trying to not do the heavy sports during your late luteal phase, or during menstruation. And this really helped me so much. And then the rest unlocked. And it felt really natural to just be guided from my body and be not afraid anymore of the pain and of the nervous system, you know, slowing me down, or hitting the brake. And this really then helped me to be guided by my body, and to not rely on those charts in the books so much, but just to listen to my own body, which is amazing.
Yes, that's it. And like, you hit the nail on the head there as well around, you know, leveraging the information out there as your starting point, as your guiding post, and then eventually it just takes on a life of its own. Like, it's kind of very much the same as what I teach in my program with the cycles of success. It's sort of, okay, understand the theory, understand what work is best suited to each cycle phase, and have that in your horizon as you do your planning, but then respond in real time, because every day is going to be different. Every month, every season's got its unique nuances. And like, zooming out beyond just what's happening in the physical body, if we look at nature, the weather, the season, the astrological things happening, there's just so much more influencing us. And so it truly is such a, as you say, superpower to then leverage for productivity in a way that's really very seldom spoken about. Like, I know you and I are nerding out about this because we're in this world, but you won't find this in any productivity book.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it's also when I talk to also males about this at my workplace. For example, they're like, "Oh, this is the information my daughters need." Like, and my wife should have gotten like 20 years ago.
Yes.
I'm so glad that people like us now, do this and bring this more into the world, because it's really needed. And I think like decades ago it was maybe more known, but then it got forgotten. So it's really cool to bring this back into the today's world of productivity and of doing it all, and to mix it both, because I think both can coexist. You just need to find a way how to do it and how to do it for yourself.
Exactly. And also create a world where doing nothing is actually part of doing it all. Like you said, where like there is a specific time where being at rest is the most absolutely productive thing that you can do. And I would love to actually ask you if you're keen to go there with me, for the listeners, because as you may recall, my origin was in the health and wellness space. Like, I'm a board certified coach, all the things. And then I followed the breadcrumbs, and now I'm like in this whole productivity and performance space. And so I don't speak about health and wellness as much as I used to. So I would love for you to share, for our listeners who are like, okay, Vic has told me before about like what to do work-wise, etc., in different phases of the cycle. But could you shed a light on like the nutrition and the movement part of things as well, from your experience and kind of the research that you did?
Yeah. So with the movement part, it's really in at the beginning of your cycle, after your period, you're really open for new things. You're creative and you're starting to burst from energy again. So then it's really cool to try new things, to go out, to be more active than in your when you have your period, and then leading up to your ovulation phase. That's where you have the most energy. So you can do really like HIIT workouts, go jogging, do like the heavy lifting things, like the really the activities that need a lot of energy, because you have a lot of energy. And then when you go down your luteal phase, which is the longest phase of your cycle, going onto your period, then you're starting to need more rest with your body, and then you're slowing down. You're going from high intensity workouts to more maybe yoga, stretching. A few people really like to still go jogging and to cycle. For me personally, cycling was the worst. It really
interesting.
It really triggered cramps, but it's really different for everyone. So you need to find out what works for you. If something is more tensing muscles, or it's releasing muscles, or muscle tension, and then find out what works for you. And don't go against, like in your late luteal phase and during your period. If your body tells you please don't go further, then just don't do it at the time. Also, if you're in a group workout, just take it slow. Maybe take the easy version. Also, if you can do the heavy version, in Pilates, or I don't know what you do, you don't always need to go all in and all out. You can just do, or maybe take a break for like one exercise, and just don't overdo it. Don't think you need to stress your body too much, because it will thank you later, and it will be more energized later.
Yes, 100%. And then in your menstrual phase,
that's also where I look at it more as the first half of the cycle and the second half. So
I'm speaking specifically to like the bleed days, like the first 3 to 5 days.
That's also where you want to have more rest,
Yeah.
and just releasing the tensions. So more stretching, slow yoga is really good for that time.
Yeah. And sleep, rest, like literally, if you
Yes,
don't do anything in those days as well, that is
sit on the
very
couch, drink a
productive.
tea. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And you touched on something that I just wanted to briefly highlight as well. You mentioned stress, and that's really important, particularly for cycling females in your luteal phase. So that second half of the cycle is when we are really prone to stress. So that's where you might see those differences where some people who metabolize stress through running, cycling, etc., they might really enjoy it. However, others who are already like their nervous system is already fried and you're running on empty and you're wired on adrenaline, adding additional stress load to your body in that phase of the cycle is probably the last thing that you need, which is likely what was happening for you. Hey.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think also you can, once you're more in tune with your body, you will notice if something is, causing stress. For example, so like walking fast. I realized that walking my commute, sometimes when you're really stressed and then you're in your menstrual phase and then you're walking down, like you're working to your train as fast as you can, then that really causes stress in your body. Um, and then, yeah, just deciding to, okay, I'll take the next train. It's no like,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world, or just
Mm-hmm.
going to lunch, things like this, like small activities like this. You can start to listen to your body, or if you have the energy, if it tells you, hey, you can go full speed, then do that. But it's really the small hints, and once you know how it feels in your body, you can really feel like you have adrenaline in your body right now, and then choosing to right then and there, maybe do some breathing patterns, slow down your walking, maybe slow down the multitasking if you're multitasking, like if you're listening to
If
a
you're still
podcast
doing that.
and writing your grocery shopping list in your head already and thinking of the next 5 things you do tomorrow at work. Just slow that down, close a few tabs in your head, yeah, and just don't try to bring down the stress in your body.
Yeah,
Because
really,
if
really
not,
wise.
because I realized if you don't do this, then you will get sick. Like you will get the cold, you will get the flu, you'll have the flu
Yes.
4 times a year. Like your body will force you to slow down if you don't do it
Yeah.
in a moment. And I thought it's so much easier and more convenient to do it in a moment, because I went from like four to 5 colds a year to like none the past year. So fingers crossed.
Hey,
But I think
amazing.
I found the some kind of formula. The more you listen to your body in the moment and don't let those stressors build up, the more your body will thank you with more
That's
energy
it.
long term.
100%. And that is effectively efficiency and productivity in a nutshell, because you're then not wasting a week being stuck in bed and not being able to function because you pushed yourself so hard. You can respond in real time. And like, I'll be the first to put my hand up and say that I still take my sick leave at my corporate job when I feel the need to slow down, because like you and I, Corinne, have now kind of cracked the code where, we don't get the common cold. I don't even need to get the like vaccinations against the common flu anymore because
Yeah.
like I'm good. And that's because you are preventative. So I'm like, well, my sick day equivalent is knowing that I feel that I'm on the edge and I need to slow down. Like, there's no point in actually forcing yourself to be completely bedridden, Yeah.
And that's amazing. I love that you do that. And I sometimes do that too. I think
Mm-hmm.
I still a little bit, I take a lot of home office days. I'm really flexible at my work where I
Mm-hmm.
can take home office and I can plan my own work. So I usually
Mm-hmm.
take home office days, more like 1 or 2 more home office days when I realize I
Mm-hmm.
need it. And yes, I have also taken sick leaves where I feel like I'm drained and I just need a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to take 1 day of sick leave than needing to take like 4 days, 2 weeks from now, because you're then
Exactly.
really sick.
Exactly. So it's actually a better return on investment for the company anyway. Like they're
Also,
paying you the
yeah.
sick leave anyway. Like it's there to be taken. And I really think like there's so much shame and stigma around, especially before COVID. I think society's gotten much better with this after COVID because it just became so unacceptable to be unwell in the common environment. But there, I mean, I'll be the first to admit I was like, coughing and sneezing and wheezing in the office and being like, look at me, I'm the trooper who is pushing through my biggest exhaustion. And like, oh my God, I look at that version of myself and say, cute, good work. And we've evolved through that now. So like I speak publicly about this, and even my boss knows this. I'm like, look, my definition of sick leave is different to most of society, and that is for a reason, and it works. So let this be your permission slip, and anyone listening, that your sick leave is there to be taken. I'll also say that I do use my sick leave when I need to in my menstrual phase as well, because again, that is the time when you need to rest and reflect. And I know that specifically day 2 to 3 of my cycle, like if I can afford to from a workload perspective, I'll be like, that's it. I need to just take a step back, because that's the most productive thing you can be doing anyway. Like
Yes,
you may as
yeah.
well. Mm.
No, exactly. And I realized that thinking I need to do everything until I'm sick, like, and I even like started to do more and more before when I realized I got sick, because you know, when you're sick you cannot do anything. So I crammed in everything that needed to get done in the next week before.
Yeah, because you're an achiever, you don't want to let anyone down, and you don't want to miss any of your deadlines.
No,
like,
and then of course
you
get sickness hits you hard if you do that. So now I'm realizing my energy goes down, and I'm taking the sick leave, or I'm just pushing out a few tasks that really don't need to be done if you're honest to yourself. Or you can delegate, or you can, you know, teamwork on things. And also it's about, you know, planning ahead. Maybe I know you're really big on that, but it really helped me to maybe pre-work in your ovulation phase when you have a lot of energy. When you're in the flow of, you know, a certain task, just complete everything you need to get done in 2 months from now or whatever. Like pre-work, predefine if you're really in a phase or on a day where you're really easy on systems, or on writing down your to-do lists or projects, plans, or whatever you need to do in your work. Get this done, think ahead, because then when you're not in the mood of thinking, organizing, and you're just in the mood of getting things done, that's usually before your period, then you're more in the mood of, okay, getting things done, but I'm getting overwhelmed if I need to think too much ahead or in systems. Then you can just knock the things off your list,
that's it,
which then is even more productive, and then it gives you time to not do so much when you're on your period.
And that is the secret to productivity. Like, not only does it help you work with your cycle or the cycles of success if you're not a cycling female, but in my personal experience, and I'm keen to hear yours as well, Corinne, it's actually made me more productive in the sense that I'm actually getting more done in less time than I ever have before. It is nuts. It doesn't make sense on paper, but it's like some kind of quantum timeline collapse, time bender, woo-woo magic shit that we're doing here. That is just like, it works, right? Like, I'm really curious to hear your experience with it as well. Okay, be honest with me. How many times have you spent the late nights or checking emails on the weekend or taking that 6 p.m. phone call, or maybe just literally dreaming or thinking of your work deadlines before going to bed? Or how about this one? How many times have you skipped your lunch break? Yeah, I know, a bit confronting, isn't it? Well, I have created a tool just for you, which will help you put a number to the true cost of your overwork. It is my signature true cost of overwork calculator that will show you how much you are actually getting paid versus what you think you're getting paid based on your salary, based on the hours that you are putting in. I'm going to put a little disclaimer there. This can be quite confronting, but there's nothing that will facilitate behavior change as much as seeing the truth for what it is. And this is what I love about maths, is that math just maths. It's got no feelings, no emotions, nothing attached to it. The numbers just are what they are. You give it the meaning you want to. If you want to find out now, just click the link below in the show notes. It is all completely confidential. I don't see any of the results. It is all just there for your leisure. Give it a try. And if you've had any ahas or realizations, I would love to hear your feedback. Send me a DM. Let's have a chat.
No, and I really went from thinking I need to work 8 hours a day at my job to, okay, maybe I'm done and I'm like after 6 hours and I'm leaving. But then the next day, I'm in a flow and I'm doing a lot of the things of the same type of things, and I'm in like just in a mood of a certain task that maybe takes me 8.5 hours or 9 hours. Then I'm doing that, but I'm not thinking I need to push through or to, I don't know, fill my day with doing emails or whatever you think you need to do at your workspace. Just if you can, if your employer allows that, just like don't think you need to sit there for exactly 8 hours. Just ebb and flow, and then you can do it for 10 hours one day, but then you can leave after 6 hours another day, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and I love that you speak to that and that you do that, because like, as you say, not all time is created equal. And so you have cracked the code. And so if you are getting just as much done as your hustle mode, masculine, male, linear dominated productivity model, multitasking colleagues, and it takes them 9 hours to do what it takes you 5 or 6 hours, that's on them. They can come see me, join Efficiency Made Easy, sort out that problem, and also get their work done in 5 to 6 hours. You know, it's like, it works. Don't blame. I even share this, with people at my workplace. I'm like, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah. That is great. I hear it from so many people. They observe me, they see me doing this, and they applaud me for it, but they don't dare to do it. Like, they think, it means something, like they didn't do the reframe yet. So that's where I really can say, like, go into this. Maybe you need a coach like you, Viktoria, to guide you to this, because it's hard if you've been told like you only get to have the sick leave once you have hit fever, or you're only a good worker if you hit 8 hours at least, like in your day, or you're only okay to rest if you have completed your whole to-do list, which in my case would never be the case. Like, in my whole life I could never do it.
Me neither. My human design is generator. The ideas come in faster than I can write them down. So yeah. Thank you for saying that, because zooming back to a past version of me, and maybe even a past version of you, I often say that, like, even if someone listening to us now is like feeling a little bit triggered and agitated, that's probably a mirror and a reflection, because often that is showing you something that is maybe deep down a desire. And I remember a time when I was in corporate, and that was back when, like, I was in total hustle mode, like I was the first one in the office, the last one to leave. And I would be such a judgy Judy to the people who would stroll in at 10 o'clock and leave by 2. I'm like, how dare they? And like, how is it that they're doing this and I have to sacrifice, blah, 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 blah. And then I noticed over time, as I had kind of that transformation, that it's like, actually, that's my inner work to do, because that's judgment I am placed. No one cares what time you leave the office. The only person that cares the most is yourself. And I remember that, because when I just started to play with the edges and I would like start to leave early, I'm like, are people looking at me? You're like justifying it. And now I'm just like, in and out, whatever, it's like the work's done. So don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, I'm curious, was that similar to your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's great, because I think when you're judging others, I mean, it always tells more about you than about, like, it always tells more about the person judging than the person who is judged, and it really tells you like your own imbalances, your own beliefs. So really, if someone listening now is thinking, oh, they are just crazy, like, for doing this, or they're not good workers, whatever, it's really reflect that for yourself and think, okay, what do I judge them for? And maybe I'm judging myself for it, or I think when I say, okay, maybe they don't do enough, do I think I wouldn't be doing enough if I left the office early, for example, or what is my belief behind this? Like, I have to work long hours to be productive, for example. That's a really big misconception that I've realized that people have, that you just maybe can reflect on and be inspired by others who do what you're envying and what you think, what you're maybe judging,
or what's triggering.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And take this as a invitation to reflect on yourself, because it's possible for you too. Like, it's not that we have unlocked the superpower, or we have been given the superpower and someone else has not. I think it's the right for everyone to unlock this in them, inside themselves. And if everyone would do this, like, the world would be such a happier place. Everyone would be so much more at ease. Like, it would benefit the whole planet, basically. So I think everyone should do this for themselves. It's not a privilege or a skill that you either have or don't have. It's really, and just give yourself the permission to, because maybe your programming and your beliefs, what you've been told growing up from your parents, from your tutors, from your bosses, doesn't align with that. But then just take inspiration from people who do it, see how they do it, and dare to do the same.
Yes, dare to do the same, because it's a skill that all of us have. We might just not know it yet and not know how to use it yet. You know, it's kind of the metaphor that just came to me is like, you know, superpowers, like the X-Men or someone that's like got this amazing ability, but it's been dormant in them their entire life. And this is effectively what we do here, is like we awaken it and then we help you harness it so that you can use it for your success. And you know, you touched on a really deep-rooted belief here that I think a lot of type A achievers struggle with, which is this: enough. What does enough look like? Not doing enough, not enough time, etc. So like we could go down a whole rabbit hole on that, and it's pretty deep. So I'll leave it for another day. But I did want to circle back to, you know, the secrets around working with your cycle, and you've kind of shared around what to do from a movement perspective. And I would just also love to round it out from a nutrition perspective, because you said there were specific things you did with your food that really helped you harness your energy at specific times as well. So yeah, please do share more about that.
Yeah, so again, I look at it as more as the first half of your cycle, which is your follicular phase and the ovulatory phase. Thank you. I'm always thinking in two languages at the same time.
That's all good. I feel you, sister.
And then the second half, which is your luteal and your menstrual phase. And pay attention to definitions in books, because some books start with the menstrual phase. But again, from the energy perspective, I see it more as, you know, the way leading up to your ovulation and then the way to your period.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I will just point that out and put a quick pin in this, because that's different to how I teach it the traditional way of day one is your menstrual. So just if anyone listening is getting a little bit confused, just know that Corinne is looking at it from a slightly different angle. Same thing, just slightly shifted perspective, and which makes total sense from the energetics as well. Keep going.
And then, so in your first half, leading up to your ovulation, once your period is finished, this is where you're, especially around your ovulation, it's where you're better digesting cold foods. Sprouts are really good for your hormones, and that's where you need a little bit like more summer foods. You don't need as much nutritious food as in your second half. And then during your luteal phase, it's where basically your body prepares you for a possible pregnancy. And there you really need to stock up on nutritious food, on carbs that process slowly. You know, sweet potato. It's really good helper, or beans. Chickpeas are really, really helpful. And the big pitfall is, or the problem is, that some people do is you start maybe to get some bloating. You think, oh, I'm getting fat, so I need to eat all the salads, you know, to stay skinny. And that's counterproductive, because when you're keeping yourself or your body from nutrients, then your body goes into more fight or flight state and trying to keep everything that it can hold on to, and then it is more likely to put on the extra fats that you don't want. So really give yourself the nutrients you need. Hot food is really good in that phase. So like curries, hot soups. If you drink tea, maybe an iced tea is good in your ovulatory phase, but then maybe even on a hot day, go for a hot tea. It might be better for your body, for your digestion. And it's really like go with those. You have food charts. There are a lot of food charts with really specific foods for different hormones, but I found it really the basics, like cold food, hot food, more summery foods, more winter warm, rich foods. That's all I needed to balance myself. And then what really helped me again was the magnesium, and I took it from ovulation until and after my period, like until my period was over. And this really helped my personal cramps, because magnesium releases tension or releases your muscles. And for me, this helped. So if you have a really specific problem, then maybe look with a holistic doctor what kind of supplement you can take, or what kind of nutrients you can get from foods that help you with that specific problem.
Yeah, I am such a strong advocate for, having a naturopath, having someone like literally my annual health check is about to come up, and I'm going to do my bloods and look at all the things. Personally, I take magnesium every single day, that just, again, my unique needs. So you won't find that out until you actually work with, as you say, a holistic doctor, a functional medicine practitioner, or a naturopath. And it really is, I know, some of you listening might be thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds so complicated. This is a lot to keep track of. It's like, no, it's actually really easy. It's really simple. It is grounded in universal principles and rhythms that literally govern all of life on Earth. And if it sounds complicated, it's just because it's new, it's unfamiliar. So your nervous system's like, hard basket. And that's where, experts like Corinne, like myself, are really helpful to have alongside you for that journey. And so, the last little kind of piece that you shared earlier that I really wanted to make sure we round out as well, because it had me go and be so curious, was you said that you started working with some energy work as well, and that was kind of part of your journey too. So yeah, would you be open to sharing a little bit more about that and what that looked like for you?
Yeah, so basically it was kind of on the vein of, and it's so cool in that work, like, the more you research, the more it opens up for you, and the more you go down a rabbit hole, the more you find even more interesting things to go down.
I know, it's like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Exactly, yeah, and that's where I really want to help people, with my own formula, but I'm still in the discovery phase of okay, what is my own unique formula that I can help people with, and the energy work is a big part of the missing puzzle piece that I found in the last year, which is so cool, because it's it also goes down the vein of listening to your body. Because the teachings I follow, they say every physical symptom has an emotional root cause.
Yeah.
And then, if you have your period cramps, it could be, or your back pain or neck pain, headaches, it has a physical cause. It maybe neck pain, you have the heavy backpack all the time, or you didn't sleep well, or whatever you did didn't help on the physical side, but then also there is an energetic side, which, for example, for headache is usually you put a lot of pressure on yourself, which I think listeners can relate, because if you're a type A person, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, you have a lot of expectation, and then that's where the head and neck starts to hurt, and it starts to really weigh down, metaphorically and also physically weigh down on yourself. And then I'm discovering more and more how you can release that with nervous system work and energy work, and it's really, really cool if you can start to do it for yourself, because I think it's not practical to go to an energy worker like every other day, because if you're if you have high expectations of yourself, like me and you, you probably don't want to just fix when it's really, really hurting, and then as soon as you're okay to function again, you're leaving it. But I was so curious to go, okay, how can I go to a good level, and how can I go to like the best level for myself? And that's where I really started to learn how to do it for myself, how to decode those body symptoms for myself, and then work on it constantly with myself. And that is a lot of it is some somatic work, but then it's a lot of brain rewiring and reframing some mindset things, like some beliefs that you have. And it's amazing because you don't need to do like half a year of some type of exercises or whatever. If you reframe a mindset that really weighs down on you, it can release within a few days or even hours.
Yeah, and it is so powerful.
Yes, it's really like a cheat code. Like
it is, yeah. It's again a productivity hack. That's not your traditional linear productivity model. And like for a beginner listener that might be still tuned into this episode, what's maybe one of those practices that you've discovered for yourself that you would be open to sharing with them? Like, what's something that they could start to experiment with?
I will go with the headache or neck pain, because that is probably quite a universal problem that people have.
Yeah.
And this on the energetic level, because you always need to know what's the energetic root cause, what's the feeling that's connected to that physical pain. And for headaches, it's putting pressure on yourself. And for neck pain is feeling like you need to do it all, like you only you can do it, and maybe you need to take care of all the people around you, or need to do the work or carry the load for people around you and for yourself. And then it's about reframing, okay, how is this not true? Like, how do I have support? How don't I need to do it all? And what kind of, for the headache, what kind of pressure am I putting on myself? And then you can just prove it wrong. Like, you can list all your beliefs that you have, or the things you think you need to do, or think they are true. And then for each belief you think is true, you can kind of prove it wrong. And you can say, hey, actually, like, there is another way.
Like, where do I have evidence of it being different, whether in my life or someone I know?
Yeah, and that's, or how on a logical level, like, if I would give advice to a friend, how would I tell them it's not true?
Oh,
like, because
that's
for yourself, you're always so hard on yourself. But then if you're giving advice to a friend, it's always so much easier, and you're always so much kind to them.
That is so funny that you just said that, because I literally just had this conversation with my partner where he gave advice to a friend a year ago that made a really significant difference to them. And somehow through the vein, it came back to me, and I just shared it with him. And I was like, hey, did you know that you made such a profound impact on this person's life? And he was like, oh, reflecting on the things he said. And he's like, yeah, I don't do it in my life, but I'll tell other people to do it. So like, well, that's a great moment of self-awareness there for you. So yeah, that's thank you for sharing that, because to distill it into like 3 simple steps, it's identify the physical symptom, understand that the root cause of this is, the headache is putting too much pressure on yourself, the shoulder weight is trying to hold it all yourself. And then list out all the stories you're telling yourself about why that is true. And then be the lawyer on the other side of the defense and prove it not to be true, and watch the magic unfold. That's already enough to shift your perspective. Exactly. Our mind is so incredibly malleable. So thank you for sharing that little practice, little tool and resource with our listeners. I hope that, they'll implement it and start to see that bring fruition into their life in real time. And so the signature question that I love to ask all of my guests who come onto this podcast is this: if there was just one thing that resonated with the listeners for a long time after this episode ends, what do you wish that one thing would be?
To just listen what your body is telling you. Like your body is really telling you a lot, like it's speaking to you all the time. And when you have a lot of energy, for example, it tells you, hey, you're doing, you're nurturing me in a way that is sustainable, that is good. If it causes, or if it comes up with sickness or a cold or whatever, any pains, then it's telling you, hey, look inwards. There is something that you should shift. There is something out of alignment, or practice that is not really sustainable that you do. Please look at this. And it's really, it's wanting to help you. It's not wanting to punish you or to slow you down. And if you can look at this, if you can try to, or know how to translate those symptoms, it's really, really powerful. It's like you're like on another level, like you have the cheat code for the game of life.
Yes, you have the cheat code for the game of life, because most people don't realize that we have come with this ancient superpower technology that as soon as we actually pause and listen to, and then you said the magic words, alignment. Whether you're out of alignment, get yourself back into alignment, man. Like that is the secret to manifesting the life of your wildest dreams. So thank you for sharing that reflection. And if someone's been really inspired by you, by your story, they want to learn more about you, maybe they want to work with you, where can they find you?
Best way to find me is on Instagram. My name is Corinne im Wunderland. I mostly post in German these days, but sometimes also in English. But yeah, just follow me and see what I'm up to. At the moment, I'm immersing myself in another learning phase, and then once I'm ready, I will share all of my learnings again.
Amazing. And are you working with people in German and English as well?
Yes, totally. So for at the moment, I'm finding the best way, for a program, and I'm constantly noting down like ideas for a program, and I will see. I think I will just have a wait list in English and in German and see which one fills first. So
amazing. I love that.
To do, but then also one-on-one work will be possible in English and German.
Amazing. That is such, like, honestly, hands down to you, because I actually don't know if we've spoken about this, but I am part of my history is from Germany. I have a German passport, but at this point in my business, I refuse to do work in any language other than English. And that is purely because, I'm also in the early build phase, like still figuring out how to decode over a decade of like planning, project management, and productivity experience into this like never before seen methodology that is like, it makes sense in your mind, but then when you try and put words to it, it's just like,
yeah, if you learn something, like it's a whole subject for itself, and you almost need to relearn it in a different language. So for me, it's really easy because my mother language is German, so that's where I'm comfortable at. But then also I learn everything in English, so that's why
perfect.
It feels natural to also teach people in English because I already learned it in English. So yeah.
Awesome. I love that. So there we go. If people in my community, who I know I've got quite a few Germans in my community as well, are like, hey, Vic's taken too long to sort herself out and teach in German, Corinne is on a similar wavelength as well. So thank you so much for coming onto this podcast. It's been so fun to nerd out on like all these topics with you, and we could go on for days. I'm honestly so grateful that we're on this journey and sharing this work with people. And I wish you the very best in this continued journey of self-discovery, and the program that you are developing is going to be incredible. I can already see the ripple effect that it's going to have, as you said, to making this world a better place for everyone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And thank you for having me. And it's so cool to see what you're doing with your program and with your work, because really this type of work the world needs. Like people need to know this, people need to learn this and to embody this, not only to learn it and do it for a few weeks, but really to embody it for their own life. So you're really doing an amazing job to bring this into the world and to make it practical for people. So it's so cool to observe that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, because, you just said something really important there as well. Is it's one thing to hear these concepts, but it's another piece to make it a practical thing that you can apply. And it's one thing to learn it, but then it's another thing to implement it. And
Yes.
I can share this little secret with you now because, by the time our episode ends, it's already going to have happened. But I've got my core 8-week group coaching program where I deliver all the tools, frameworks, systems, and processes. And right now, we've just completed our 6th goal, and my students are like, holy shit, how do I do this? Because they're like, okay, I get it now, and how. And so I'll be offering them a backdoor membership so that, we can continue to actually implement and integrate this into the rest of their life. And that's the magic ingredient, because, we can read all the productivity books and we can watch all the YouTube videos on how to be a better planner, but it's when the rubber hits the road, when you actually do the thing, that your life transforms. So thank you for saying that as well. And it's also really humbling to hear that it's making its way all the way to the other side of the world, to Switzerland, where I used to live as well. So thank you, Corinne. I loved this episode. Honestly, I feel like I was just talking to another version of me, which was pretty cool, because I'm going to be honest, being such a pioneer in this world, these are things that you won't find in any productivity book. So it's really unique to get to speak to someone who shares a lot of the similar knowledge, wisdom, experience, and world views. And as I reflect on this episode, some of the things that I just wanted to share with you before we round out is, this real reframing of productivity and efficiency that happened for Corinne, and that unlocked a lot of the transformation that she was able to tap into. And, she learned that not all time is created equal. It's sort of seeing her coworkers sit for the 10th hour, just scratching their head trying to solve a problem. The solution just isn't coming, versus her knowing exactly when to leverage her peak productivity times. That's what gives her the edge up. And actually, as we spoke about, creates this mind-blowing magical phenomenon where you're actually getting more done in less time. Again, I cannot explain this to you except that it literally is what happens, because somehow you align with how the universe in its universal principles is designed to operate, which, by the way, I'll make a separate note on this. Teach on universal principles, because that's something I haven't spoken about on the podcast, but that's actually a big reason behind why the work that we teach here truly works. It is grounded in universal capital T truths, and I've cracked the code. Corinne's cracked the code. You get to crack the code as well. And the magic in cracking of the code is in applying this to your own life. It's in the test and learning. It's one thing to have the theory, but then you've got to actually implement and tweak based on your unique needs and circumstances. And so that is the magic of, the work we get to do together when you decide to work with me. And also the magic of self-exploration and you being on your own journey as a fellow listener to Resonance. And one of the things that I didn't touch on in the episode, but I just wanted to make sure that I added in here, and I'll link it up in the show notes below, is when Corinne was speaking about your physical symptoms manifesting as being a manifestation of what's happening in your emotional landscape, that is much more powerful than you realize. So this is a concept that's been around since the ages. But of course, in our Western modern world, we've kind of bastardized everything and forgotten half of what our ancestors were practicing day to day. But here's the thing. Louise Hay, who is the founder of Hay House Publishing, she has written so many incredible books. Honestly, her work is groundbreaking. She wrote a book on this specific topic called You Can Heal Your Life. And within that book, if I'm not mistaken, is literally like an encyclopedia of all the possible physical symptoms that a human body may experience, with the actual root cause of the symptom, and also specific mindset affirmations and perspective shifts that will help you begin to eliminate those symptoms. So because, Corinne and I touched on this subject and it kind of slipped my mind to mention it during the episode, I just wanted to sneak it into this little recap here so that you can dive in and see if that brings some fruit for you. So with that in mind, as your action step from this week, I just really encourage you to take stock of what advice you would be giving to a friend that perhaps you need to take a little bit of. And I know we're all guilty for this, like myself included, right? But there's certainly something that would have come up for you where we kind of pushed your buttons a little bit and triggered you a little bit. That's generally a signal of something being out of alignment. And so when that piece is out of alignment, you get to ask yourself and be really radically honest of like, what would you tell a best friend? What would you tell someone you loved, who you deeply cared about? What would you tell a 5-year-old, your inner child? It's just having that conversation with yourself. Yes, while often the most challenging conversation to have, it actually is the most important and most transformational one that will ripple out into the rest of your life. So with that in mind, thank you for sticking around and listening to this week's episode, which is all about how you get to leverage your inner superpowers to enhance your productivity and performance. I look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, have a fantastic week ahead. Bye for now. If you're a high performer or entrepreneur who's got big dreams and you've developed strategies to get you closer to those dreams, but you feel like there are also parts of you self-sabotaging your success, I built something just for you. It is my signature Achievement Archetypes quiz that is absolutely free, takes less than 2 minutes, and it will give you instant feedback as to where your Achilles heel is. That is your natural self-sabotaging behavior when it comes to productivity, planning, efficiency, and organization. And it gives you your next right step and the solution you didn't know you needed. You'll find the link in the show notes just below. Make sure you find your achievement archetype and let me know what it is. As a fellow achiever, I will be the first to put my hand up that I have now mastered my Achilles heel, and I can't wait for you to do the same. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.